But now they had given the circuit a lick of paint, and it looked like this. With the season almost over by now, every team had the technology to cope with the fuel limit, and there was talk of future formula finagling to limit power and expense. Getting rid of turbos being too simple a solution, Prix proposed a choice between pop-off valves, stopcock nipples, and double downdraft upswept cam knockers. Balestri promised he would listen to everybody's views before taking his usual arbitrary decision. All he had to do was finish fourth and he would wrap up the championship. Berger and the Benetton had now definitely arrived as a contending combination. But Senna once again blasted his way to the pole, winning his 8th free Vesper of the season. All Mansell had to do was go. At the green light, however, Mansell either failed to find first gear or, some later suggested, simply forgot to select it in all the excitement. Senna and Piquet raced for the first corner, with Berger, Prost, Alboreto, and a temporarily functional Tambay leading the pack behind them. Piquet beat them out of the first corner and led the race. Mansell was 19th. The action up ahead was fast and furious. Senna took the inside line, but Piquet gave him the choice of second place or the cement. So it was Piquet, Senna, Berger, and Prost. Prost smoothly moved up to take third place. Mansell, who'd been pressing hard to make up time, came in with a blistered tire on lap 11, but all was not yet lost. Piquet led, followed by Senna, Prost, and Berger. And Piquet's, which was to be one of three, dropped him from first to third. He was cooking his tires like tortillas. Senna now led from Berger. But Senna needed new wheels as well. Berger was in the lead, out there selling clothes for Benetton in front of umpteen million. In fact, it was being occupied suavely by Prost. Senna stopped again. Berger hadn't stopped at all and still led the race, with Prost now second. Piquet stopped yet again, returning to the race in 6th spot. This allowed Mansell to catch him up. Mansell was now 5th, but the 4th place he wanted was fully occupied by Piquet, who wasn't in the least helpful. Johansson was a lap behind Senna when something serious happened to the Ferrari's engine. Steam was eventually joined by flame, plus a lot of oil. Patresi's flat Brabham hit the Ferrari's oil and went into a flat spin. The circuit being by now well oiled, Mansell decided to wait for Australia. Berger won his first Grand Prix, which was terrific news for Benetton and good for the sport. The whole race had hinged on tire stops. The entire country had gone car race crazy. In the whole Grand Prix season, it had scarcely rained anywhere, not even in Monaco. It was still wet for Johansson, who slid into the wall with a fearsome crunch. The track was starting to dry when Mansell clouted the wall, dislocating his rear suspension. The track was dry when Tambay went off it, but the grass verge was a quagmire. Mostly it just sort of leaked. Pole-sitter Mansell also had the burden of the British press to contend with. Can Nigel do it? They were screaming helpfully. This time Mansell found first gear all right, but Senna got a flying start and bustled up behind him as he led the field into the first corner. Then Senna got past Mansell, with Piquet still third, although Rosberg was right on his tail. Next it was Piquet's turn to pass Mansell, who was content to ease off, since he was only racing for third place. But Rosberg, up from 7th place in half a lap, grabbed third place for himself. There had been 3 different leaders in the first lap, in a wickedly fast race that only Rosberg seemed to be finding too sedate. Rosberg went past Senna into 2nd place. Senna was going backwards, and Mansell went past him with no trouble into 3rd spot. Rosberg, his tyres at screaming pitch, went past Piquet into the lead. Prost went past Senna to take 4th spot. Up at the front, Rosberg was romping along. It was a street circuit and the old street fighter was in his element. Piquet demoted himself from 2nd to 4th by doing an elaborate spin, a lapse which he made up for by his uncanny skill of keeping the Honda howling in its usable rev range while the world swiveled around his helmet. Prost made an early pit stop with a punctured right front tyre. This dropped him from 2nd to 4th, and he must have already been seeing the World Championship trophy leaving his sideboard for the Isle of Man. But it didn't stop him concentrating. Piquet came boiling back into the main action. Prost's prediction came true as Piquet raced Mansell and went past him into 2nd place behind Rosberg. Rosberg's right rear tyre delaminated itself. A nice way of saying it didn't actually blow out, but it blew Rosberg out of the race. Lapping Alio, Mansell was coming up behind Prost when the World Championship blew up in his left ear. Mansell drove with consummate skill to escape death, a deliverance which made him feel lucky next day, but not today. Piquet, suddenly circumspect, came in for a precautionary pit stop to check out a vibration. He dropped to 2nd place behind Prost. Next year, Nigel. Prost won the race.